Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why you feel the need to measure up to others? Pause for a moment. Think about it. When was the last time you scrolled through social media comparing your progress to someone else's highlight reel? Or maybe you found yourself envying a colleague's promotion or a friend's seemingly perfect life. It happens so often that we don't even notice it anymore. But deep down, doesn't it leave you feeling empty? Doesn't it make you question your own worth? Here's the truth. Comparison is natural. As human beings, we're wired to look around and assess where we stand. Our ancestors did it for survival, to ensure they were stronger, faster, and smarter than their rivals. But here's the catch. While comparison might have helped them hunt better or avoid danger, it does nothing but harm us in today's world. Why? Because the game has changed. The battlefield isn't out there anymore. It's within you. If you're nodding along right now, if this resonates with you, then congratulations. You've already taken the first step towards something extraordinary. Awareness is power. And by simply recognizing how much energy you've wasted trying to keep up with others, you've unlocked the door to a deeper level of self-understanding. But let me warn you, this journey won't be easy. Facing yourself requires courage. It demands honesty. Are you ready to rise to the challenge? Before we dive deeper, here's a promise. If you stay with me until the end of this video, I'll give you a powerful tool, a simple yet transformative mindset shift that will help you reclaim your focus and redirect all that wasted energy back into becoming the best version of you. So stick around. This one insight could change everything for you. Now let's talk about why competing with others feels so tempting in the first place. Psychologists call it social comparison theory. We instinctively evaluate ourselves based on those around us because, at some level, we believe it gives us clarity. If someone else appears happier, more successful, or further ahead, our brain assumes they hold the secret to fulfillment. But what if I told you that chasing their blueprint only leads to frustration? What if the real key to unlocking your full potential lies not in looking outward, but inward? Think about it this way. Imagine two runners on a track. One is sprinting at full speed, leaving everyone else behind. The other is pacing themselves, focused solely on beating their personal best. Who do you think finishes stronger in the long run? The answer is clear. The runner who competes against themselves grows steadily, learning from each race, refining their technique, and pushing their limits without being distracted by what others are doing. They win not because they crossed the finish line first, but because they became better than they were yesterday. This same principle applies to every area of your life. Whether it's your career, relationships, health, or personal goals, the moment you stop comparing yourself to others and start focusing on your own growth, magic begins to happen. Suddenly, you're no longer held back by jealousy or insecurity. Instead, you're fueled by curiosity and determination. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to learn rather than obstacles to fear. But breaking free from the habit of comparison takes work. It starts with asking yourself the right questions. Questions like, am I proud of who I'm becoming? Am I giving my best effort today? Am I honoring my unique talents and strengths? These aren't easy questions to answer. In fact, they can feel uncomfortable at times. But discomfort is where growth begins. Every great achievement in history started with someone willing to sit in that space of uncertainty and push forward anyway. So here's what I want you to take away from this opening thought. Your value isn't determined by anyone else's opinion or accomplishments. Your worth comes from the effort you put into improving yourself day after day. That's it. No external validation required. No endless race to prove your superiority. Just you showing up consistently and choosing to become 1% better than you were yesterday. Stay with me because in the next section, we're going to explore why comparing yourself to others is one of the most destructive habits you can have and how letting go of it sets you free. Remember, the reward waiting for you at the end of this video is worth every second of your attention. Keep going. You're closer to transformation than you realize. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, your focus, and your peace of mind without you even realizing it. Let's break this down. When you compare yourself to someone else, what are you really doing? You're taking their highlight reel, the carefully curated moments they choose to share, and holding it up against your behind-the-scenes footage. Their wins look effortless, But you know the truth about your own struggles, the late nights, the sacrifices, the moments of doubt. They don't post those on social media, and yet you let their polished exterior make you feel like you're falling short. Here's the brutal reality. No matter how much you achieve, there will always be someone who seems to have more. More money, more talent, more recognition. The race has no finish line because human ambition is infinite. But here's the liberating part. You don't need to run that race. The only person you owe your best effort to is you, not your neighbor, not your coworker, not the influencer with millions of followers, just you. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you lose sight of what truly matters, your unique journey. Every single one of us has been given a set of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges that no one else shares. That means your path can't be compared to anyone else's. Trying to do so is like comparing apples to galaxies. It just doesn't make sense. Think about the people you admire most. Do you respect them because they've copied someone else's blueprint? Or do you admire them because they've stayed true to themselves, embraced their quirks, and poured their energy into becoming the best version of who they are? Success isn't about fitting into someone else's mold. It's about creating your own masterpiece. Now, let's talk about the cost of living in comparison mode. Every time you scroll past a post that makes you feel inadequate, every time you envy someone else's success, you're chipping away at your confidence. You're telling yourself, I'm not enough. And when that belief takes root, it spreads like wildfire. It affects your decisions, your relationships, and your willingness to take risks. Fear creeps in, whispering lies that keep you stuck. Lies like, why bother trying? They'll always be better than you. But here's the thing. What if none of that matters? What if the only metric that truly counts is whether you showed up today and gave it your all? Imagine waking up each morning with the sole intention of outdoing yesterday's version of yourself. No distractions, no noise, just pure focus on growth. How freeing would that feel? Breaking free from the trap of comparison starts with shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing others' achievements as threats, start viewing them as inspiration. Someone else's success doesn't diminish yours. It expands the possibilities. If they can do it, why not you? Use their victories as fuel for your own fire, not as a reason to shrink back. And remember, progress isn't linear. There will be days when you soar and days when you stumble. Both are equally important because both teach you something valuable. On the hard days, remind yourself that setbacks don't define you. They refine you. Each failure brings you closer to discovering what works, what doesn't, and what makes you unstoppable. The beauty of competing with yourself is that it strips away the pressure to be perfect. Perfection is an illusion, a mirage that keeps you chasing something unattainable. But progress is real, it's tangible, it's the small, consistent steps you take every day that add up to monumental change over time. So ask yourself this: what would happen if you stopped wasting energy on comparisons and redirected it towards self-improvement? How much further could you go? How much brighter could your light shine? The answers lie within you, waiting to be uncovered. Keep moving forward. Keep pushing beyond your limits. Because the moment you embrace the truth that your only competition is yourself, everything changes. You step into a world where fear loses its grip, where purpose becomes clearer, and where fulfillment replaces the endless chase for approval. Imagine waking up every morning with a sense of purpose so strong that it pulls you out of bed, no matter how tired or overwhelmed you feel. That's the power of self-competition. It's not about beating yourself down. It's about lifting yourself up. When you stop looking outward for validation and start focusing inward, something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. You begin to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones. Each day becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient than the one before. But here's the key question. How do you shift from comparing yourself to others to embracing this mindset of personal growth? The answer lies in understanding who you're truly competing against. It's not the person next to you. It's the version of yourself that settled yesterday. That version of you who doubted their abilities, who let fear dictate their choices, who stayed comfortable instead of courageous. Every time you push past those limits, you win. And those wins, they compound over time, building momentum that propels you toward greatness. Think about it like climbing a mountain. At first, the summit seems impossibly far away. The path is steep, the air is thin, and every step feels heavier than the last. But here's the secret. The view isn't what matters most. What matters is the strength you build along the way, the endurance, the grit, the determination to keep moving forward even when your legs ache and your lungs burn. With each step, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. Now, let's talk about resilience. Life has a way of throwing curveballs when we least expect them. Plans fall apart, dreams get delayed, and setbacks shake us to our core. In those moments, it's easy to doubt yourself, to wonder if you're cut out for the journey ahead. But here's the truth. Adversity doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. When you compete with yourself, you learn to embrace these challenges as opportunities to rise higher. You realize that failure isn't the end. It's feedback. It's information that helps you recalibrate, refocus, and come back stronger. And there's another layer to this transformation, one that goes deeper than just achieving goals. When you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, you unlock a profound sense of fulfillment. Why? Because true satisfaction comes from knowing you gave your all. It's not about reaching some arbitrary finish line. It's about the process, the daily grind, the small victories, the lessons learned along the way. These are the moments that shape your character and define your legacy. So how do you stay focused on this path of self-improvement? Start by celebrating progress, no matter how small. Did you take one step closer to your goal today? That's worth acknowledging. Progress is progress, whether it's big or small. Too often we dismiss our efforts because they don't seem good enough. But remember this, every skyscraper started with a single brick. Every masterpiece began with a single brushstroke. Your journey is no different. Another crucial element is patience. Growth takes time, and trying to rush it only leads to frustration. Think of a tree. It doesn't sprout overnight. Its roots dig deep into the soil, its trunk thickens year by year, and its branches stretch toward the sky, slowly but steadily. Your growth works the same way. Trust the process. Show up consistently, even when results aren't immediate. Over time, those tiny actions will add up to monumental change. Let's also address the role of gratitude in this journey. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good practice, it's a powerful tool for motivation. When you appreciate how far you've come, it fuels your desire to keep going. Take a moment to reflect on where you were a year ago, or even 6 months ago. Chances are you've grown in ways you didn't fully recognize until now. Acknowledge that growth. Honor it. Let it remind you of your potential to achieve even more. Finally, surround yourself with people who inspire you, not through comparison, but through encouragement. Seek out individuals who challenge you to be better, who celebrate your wins, and who stand by you during tough times. Their belief in you can reignite your own belief when doubt creeps in. Together, you create a ripple effect of positivity and growth that lifts everyone higher. This mindset shift won't happen overnight, but it will happen if you commit to it. One decision at a time, one action at a time. Keep reminding yourself why you started this journey. Keep visualizing the person you want to become. And above all, trust in your ability to get there. The climb may be steep, but the reward is worth every ounce of effort. Stay with me. There's still so much more to uncover. Imagine waking up every morning with a sense of purpose so strong that it pulls you out of bed no matter how tired or overwhelmed you feel. That's the power of self-competition. It's not about beating yourself down. It's about lifting yourself up. When you stop looking outward for validation and start focusing inward, something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. You begin to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones. Each day becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient than the one before. But here's the key question. How do you shift from comparing yourself to others to embracing this mindset of personal growth? The answer lies in understanding who you're truly competing against. It's not the person next to you. It's the version of yourself that settled yesterday. That version of you who doubted their abilities, who let fear dictate their choices, who stayed comfortable instead of courageous. Every time you push past those limits, you win. And those wins, They compound over time, building momentum that propels you toward greatness. Think about it like climbing a mountain. At first, the summit seems impossibly far away. The path is steep, the air is thin, and every step feels heavier than the last. But here's the secret: the view isn't what matters most. What matters is the strength you build along the way, the endurance, the grit, the determination to keep moving forward even when your legs ache and your lungs burn. With each step, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. Now let's talk about resilience. Life has a way of throwing curveballs when we least expect them. Plans fall apart, dreams get delayed, and setbacks shake us to our core. In those moments, it's easy to doubt yourself, to wonder if you're cut out for the journey ahead. But here's the truth: adversity doesn't define you, how you respond to it does. When you compete with yourself, you learn to embrace these challenges as opportunities to rise higher. You realize that failure isn't the end, it's feedback. It's information that helps you recalibrate, refocus, and come back stronger. And there's another layer to this transformation, one that goes deeper than just achieving goals. When you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, you unlock a profound sense of fulfillment. Why? Because true satisfaction comes from knowing you gave your all. It's not about reaching some arbitrary finish line, it's about the process, the daily grind, the small victories, the lessons learned along the way. These are the moments that shape your character and define your legacy. So how do you stay focused on this path of self-improvement? Start by celebrating progress, no matter how small. Did you take one step closer to your goal today? That's worth acknowledging. Progress is progress, whether it's big or small. Too often, we dismiss our efforts because they don't seem good enough. But remember this: every skyscraper started with a single brick. Every masterpiece began with a single brushstroke. Your journey is no different. Another crucial element is patience. Growth takes time, and trying to rush it only leads to frustration. Think of a tree. It doesn't sprout overnight. Its roots dig deep into the soil, its trunk thickens year by year, and its branches stretch toward the sky slowly but steadily. Your growth works the same way. Trust the process. Show up consistently even when results aren't immediate. Over time, those tiny actions will add up to monumental change. Let's also address the role of gratitude in this journey. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good practice. It's a powerful tool for motivation. When you appreciate how far you've come, it fuels your desire to keep going. Take a moment to reflect on where you were a year ago, or even 6 months ago. Chances are you've grown in ways you didn't fully recognize until now. Acknowledge that growth. Honor it. Let it remind you of your potential to achieve even more. Finally, surround yourself with people who inspire you, not through comparison, but through encouragement. Seek out individuals who challenge you to be better, who celebrate your wins, and who stand by you during tough times. Their belief in you can reignite your own belief when doubt creeps in. Together, you create a ripple effect of positivity and growth that lifts everyone higher. This mindset shift won't happen overnight, but it will happen if you commit to it. One decision at a time, one action at a time. Keep reminding yourself why you started this journey. Keep visualizing the person you want to become. And above all, trust in your ability to get there. The climb may be steep, but the reward is worth every ounce of effort. Stay with me. There's still so much more to uncover. What if the secret to lasting success lies not in grand gestures, but in the quiet power of daily habits? Let's pause and think about that for a moment. We often dream of overnight transformations, of suddenly waking up smarter, stronger, or more accomplished. But life doesn't work that way. Real change happens in the small, deliberate actions you take every single day. It's not the big leaps that define you. It's the tiny steps you choose to take when no one is watching. These choices, repeated consistently over time, create the foundation for everything you want to achieve. Think of your daily habits as seeds. Each time you water them with effort, they grow a little stronger. At first, the progress might seem invisible, like nothing is happening at all. But beneath the surface, roots are forming, branches are stretching, and soon enough you'll find yourself standing tall, under the shade of something extraordinary. That's the beauty of habits. They compound. One positive choice leads to another, and before you know it, you've built momentum that carries you forward effortlessly. But here's the catch. Habits require intention. They demand that you show up, even on days when motivation feels scarce. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline, on the other hand, is reliable. Discipline is what keeps you moving when inspiration fades. It's what helps you stick to your commitments when distractions threaten to pull you off course. And the best part? Every time you practice discipline, you strengthen your inner resolve. You prove to yourself that you're capable of following through, no matter what. Now, let's talk about consistency. Consistency isn't flashy or glamorous. It's steady and unyielding. It's the quiet force that turns ordinary people into legends. Think about athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, anyone who has achieved greatness. What sets them apart isn't talent alone. It's their ability to show up day after day, rain or shine, and put in the work. They understand that mastery isn't born overnight. It's forged through repetition, patience, and unwavering dedication. And here's the most empowering part. You don't need to overhaul your entire life to build powerful habits. Start small. Focus on one thing you can improve today. Maybe it's reading 5 pages of a book instead of scrolling through your phone. Maybe it's drinking an extra glass of water or writing down 3 things you're grateful for. These may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they add up to profound change. The key is to make these actions so simple, so manageable that they become non-negotiable parts of your routine. Another critical aspect of habit building is self-awareness. Pay attention to the patterns in your life, the behaviors that either propel you forward or hold you back. Are there moments when you procrastinate? Do certain triggers derail your focus? Understanding these tendencies allows you to course correct before they spiral out of control. Awareness gives you the power to rewrite your story, one decision at a time. Let's also address the role of environment in shaping your habits. Your surroundings have a massive influence on your behavior, whether you realize it or not. If your space is cluttered, chaotic, or filled with distractions, it becomes harder to stay disciplined. On the flip side, creating an environment that supports your goals can make all the difference. Surround yourself with tools, resources, and reminders that align with the person you want to become. Make it easier to do the right thing than to fall back into old routines. And don't forget the importance of celebrating milestones along the way. Building habits isn't just about grinding endlessly. It's about recognizing how far you've come. Did you stick to your morning routine for a full week? Celebrate that win. Did you resist the urge to give up when things got tough? Acknowledge that strength. These moments of reflection remind you why you started and fuel your motivation to keep going. Finally, remember that setbacks are inevitable, but they don't define you. Missing a day, slipping up, or falling short doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human. What matters is how you respond. Do you use the setback as an excuse to quit, or do you see it as an opportunity to recalibrate? The choice is yours. And each time you pick yourself back up, you grow stronger. The journey of building habits is like laying bricks for a bridge, one solid piece at a time. With every brick, you get closer to crossing over to the life you envision. Keep stacking them. Keep believing in the process. And trust that the destination will be worth every ounce of effort you invest. What would happen if you stopped letting your inner critic dictate the direction of your life? That voice inside your head, the one that whispers doubts, highlights flaws, and magnifies mistakes, isn't your enemy. It's a part of you, yes, but it's also just noise. Noise that can either hold you back or push you forward depending on how you choose to respond. The truth is, we all have this internal dialogue running in the background, and it shapes everything, our confidence, our decisions, even our ability to take risks. But here's the empowering reality. You get to decide whether it controls you or serves you. Think about it this way. Your mind is like a garden. If you let weeds grow unchecked, they'll choke out the flowers. Negativity, self-doubt, and fear are those weeds. Left unattended, they spread quickly, overtaking your thoughts and dimming your potential. But when you actively pull them out, when you challenge those negative beliefs, they lose their power. You create space for something better to flourish, something brighter, something stronger. Now, silencing your inner critic doesn't mean ignoring valid feedback or pretending weaknesses don't exist. Growth requires honesty with yourself. What it does mean is refusing to let negativity define you. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, reframe it as, I'm learning and I'm getting better every day. Instead of thinking, I'll never be able to do this, remind yourself, this is hard right now, but I've overcome tough things before. These small shifts in language might seem subtle, but they carry enormous weight. They change the narrative from one of limitation to one of possibility. And here's where resilience comes in. Resilience isn't about avoiding failure. It's about bouncing back when failure finds you. Every misstep, every stumble, every moment of doubt is an opportunity to flex that mental muscle. When your inner critic says, see, I told you so, resilience answers, not today. It refuses to let setbacks become permanent roadblocks. It reminds you that progress isn't linear, and that's okay. The only thing that matters is whether you're still moving forward. Let's talk about courage for a moment. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite it. Your inner critic thrives on fear. It feeds off uncertainty, discomfort, and vulnerability, but courage starves it. Each time you step outside your comfort zone, each time you face what scares you head on, you prove that voice wrong. You show it that you're capable of more than it ever believed possible. Over time, those acts of bravery build a shield around you, protecting you from the paralyzing grip of doubt. Another powerful tool in quieting your inner critic is self-compassion. Too often, we're kinder to others than we are to ourselves. We offer words of encouragement to friends, family, and colleagues, but when it comes to our own struggles, we turn harsh and unforgiving. Why? You deserve the same grace you extend to others. Treat yourself with patience. Acknowledge that growth takes time and mistakes are part of the process. Speak to yourself as you would a close friend, as someone who believes in your potential, even on the hardest days. Here's another perspective. Your inner critic exists because it wants to protect you. It's afraid of failure, rejection, and pain, and its instinct is to keep you safe by discouraging risk. But safety isn't always the goal. Sometimes the greatest rewards come from stepping into the unknown, from embracing discomfort and pushing beyond what feels easy. When you understand this, you can thank your inner critic for its intentions while gently setting boundaries. Thank it, then move forward anyway. And don't underestimate the power of visualization in overcoming self-doubt. Picture yourself succeeding, not as a distant dream, but as a vivid reality. Feel the emotions tied to achieving your goals. See the person you want to become standing confidently in front of you. This practice rewires your brain, replacing fear with excitement and hesitation with determination. Visualization primes your mind to act in alignment with your aspirations, making it easier to silence doubt when it arises. Finally, surround yourself with voices that uplift and inspire. While your inner critic may be loud, external support can amplify your belief in yourself. Seek mentors, peers, or communities that encourage your growth and remind you of your strengths. Their positivity will drown out negativity, reinforcing the truth that you are capable of far more than you think. The battle against your inner critic won't end overnight, but it doesn't have to. Each victory, no matter how small, weakens its hold on you. With every brave decision, every reframed thought, every act of self-compassion, you reclaim your power. You step closer to becoming the person you were always meant to be. Keep going. Keep believing. There's still so much more within you waiting to emerge. What if the greatest gift you could give yourself is the ability to focus on what you can control? Life is unpredictable. No matter how carefully we plan, there will always be forces beyond our reach, unexpected challenges, unforeseen circumstances, and moments that test our resolve. But here's the empowering truth. While you can't control everything, you can choose how you respond. And that choice, the decision to take ownership of your reactions, is where true strength lies. Think about it like this. Imagine standing in a storm. The wind howls, the rain lashes against you, and the ground beneath your feet feels unsteady. You can't stop the storm no matter how hard you try. But what if, instead of fighting it, you focused on anchoring yourself, on finding solid footing and bracing against the chaos? That's what focusing on what you can control does. It gives you stability in the midst of uncertainty. It reminds you that even when life feels out of balance, there are still elements within your grasp. Now let's break this down. What exactly can you control? Your mindset, your effort, your attitude. These may seem small compared to the weight of external circumstances, but they hold immense power. When you direct your energy toward these areas, you shift from feeling powerless to feeling purposeful. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You start taking deliberate steps forward, even when the path ahead isn't clear. But here's the challenge. It's easy to get caught up in worrying about what you can't control. We obsess over things like other people's opinions, market fluctuations, or random events outside our influence. This drains us emotionally and mentally, leaving little room for action. The key is recognizing when your mind starts spiraling into what ifs and gently steering it back to what's within your reach. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now to move closer to my goal? Then do it. Action breaks the cycle of anxiety and restores your sense of agency. And let's talk about responsibility for not just your actions, but also your perspective. Perspective shapes everything. Two people can face the same situation and walk away with completely different outcomes based solely on how they interpret it. One sees failure as final, the other sees it as feedback. One views setbacks as roadblocks, the other views them as redirections. By choosing to adopt a growth-oriented perspective, you reclaim control over how life impacts you. You decide whether adversity defines you or refines you. Another crucial aspect of focusing on what you can control is setting boundaries. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about protecting your time, energy, and emotional well-being. They allow you to say yes to what truly matters and no to distractions that pull you off course. Whether it's limiting exposure to negativity, prioritizing self-care, or carving out space for deep work, boundaries create structure. They help you channel your efforts into areas that align with your values and goals. Let's also address the role of gratitude in maintaining focus. Gratitude shifts your attention from what's lacking to what's abundant. It trains your mind to notice the positives even in difficult times. When you feel overwhelmed by what you can't change, pause and reflect on 3 things you're grateful for today. This simple practice grounds you in the present moment, reminding you of the resources and strengths you already possess. From this place of gratitude, clarity emerges, and with it, the ability to act decisively. There's another layer to consider. Progress often feels slow because we're too busy looking at the horizon instead of the steps beneath our feet. Focusing on what you can control means embracing the process rather than fixating on the outcome. It means trusting that every small effort contributes to the bigger picture. Did you make one phone call today? Write one paragraph? Take one step closer to solving a problem? Celebrate that. Progress doesn't have to be dramatic to be meaningful. Finally, remember that control isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days, simply getting out of bed might feel like a victory. Both count, both matter. What's important is showing up, day after day, and doing what you can with what you have. Over time, those consistent efforts compound, building a foundation of resilience and achievement that nothing can shake. The beauty of focusing on what you can control is that it puts the reins firmly in your hands. It transforms frustration into empowerment, fear into courage, and stagnation into momentum. By mastering this skill, you unlock the freedom to navigate life on your own terms, to rise above chaos and chart a course toward the future you envision. Keep moving forward. Keep choosing action over worry, presence over panic, because every step you take brings you closer to becoming the person you were always meant to be. What if the most powerful decision you could make is to stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20? Every journey has its own rhythm, its own pace, and its own unique story. Yet we often fall into the trap of measuring our beginning against someone else's middle or end. We see their polished exterior, their accolades, their seemingly perfect life, and we convince ourselves that we're falling behind. But here's the truth. Everyone starts somewhere. Behind every success story lies a foundation of struggle, trial, and countless unseen efforts. Your starting point doesn't define your potential. It simply sets the stage for growth. Think about it this way. Imagine planting a tree. In the early days, all you see is a fragile sapling, vulnerable and small. It might not look like much compared to the towering oak nearby, but give it time, care, and nourishment, and it will grow stronger, taller, and more resilient. The same principle applies to your life. You're not failing because you haven't reached the height of someone else's achievements. You're simply in a different season of growth, and every season has its purpose. Now let's talk about authenticity. When you try to mimic someone else's journey, you lose sight of what makes you special. Your quirks, your passions, your experiences, they are the ingredients that make your story uniquely yours. Trying to fit into someone else's mold only dilutes your brilliance. Instead, embrace who you are at this moment. Celebrate your individuality. Trust that the qualities that set you apart are exactly what will propel you forward in ways no one else can replicate. And here's something profound to consider. Success isn't linear. For every person who appears to have skyrocketed to the top, there were detours, setbacks, and moments of doubt along the way. What separates those who achieve their dreams from those who don't isn't talent or luck. It's perseverance. It's the willingness to keep going even when progress feels invisible. So instead of focusing on how far you need to go, honor how far you've already come. Every step counts. Every effort matters. Another important mindset shift is learning to view your journey as a process of discovery rather than a race to the finish line. Each phase teaches you something valuable about yourself, about resilience, about what truly fulfills you. The challenges you face aren't roadblocks. They're stepping stones. They shape you, refine you, and prepare you for the next level of growth. Without them, you wouldn't develop the strength or wisdom needed to handle greater opportunities down the road. Let's also acknowledge the role of patience in honoring your journey. Patience doesn't mean waiting passively. It means trusting the timing of your life while actively working toward your goals. It means understanding that some lessons take longer to learn, some skills take longer to master, and some dreams take longer to manifest. Rushing the process only leads to frustration. Instead, focus on nurturing your growth, knowing that everything will unfold in its right time. Finally, remember that your journey isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about becoming the person you need to be along the way. Every challenge you overcome, every fear you face, every habit you build contributes to the evolution of your character. By the time you reach your goals, you'll realize that the greatest reward wasn't the achievement itself. It was the transformation you underwent to get there. Your path is yours alone. No one else can walk it for you, and no one else should dictate its pace. Embrace where you are right now, knowing that each step brings you closer to the extraordinary future waiting for you. Keep moving forward with confidence, courage, and faith in your unique journey. What if failure wasn't the enemy, but the greatest teacher you'll ever have? Failure has a way of making us feel small. It whispers lies in our ear, telling us we're not good enough, smart enough, or strong enough. But here's the truth. Failure isn't final. It's feedback. It's the universe's way of saying, try again, but smarter this time. Every misstep, every stumble, every moment that feels like the end is actually a beginning in disguise. Failure strips away what doesn't work, leaving behind only what truly matters. And when you learn to see it that way, you unlock its hidden power. Think about some of the most iconic figures in history: the inventors, artists, leaders who changed the world. What do they all have in common? They failed repeatedly. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each attempt brought him closer to the light bulb. Each setback sharpened his focus and deepened his resolve. The same principle applies to your life. Every time you fall short, you gain insight into what needs adjustment. You gather pieces of wisdom that will guide you toward success if you're willing to listen. Now, let's talk about courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. When you face failure head on, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you imagined. Fear loses its grip because you realize it can't stop you. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to grow instead of threats to avoid. This shift in perspective changes everything. Suddenly, failure becomes less intimidating and more inviting, a necessary step on the path to greatness. And here's something profound. Failure forces you to confront your limits and then push past them. It exposes areas where you need improvement, skills you need to develop, or mindsets you need to adjust. Without failure, you'd never discover these gaps. You'd remain stuck in complacency, unaware of your untapped potential. But with each lesson learned, you become stronger, wiser, and more equipped to handle whatever comes next. Let's also address the role of resilience in overcoming failure. Resilience isn't about bouncing back to where you started. It's about using adversity to propel yourself further than before. It's about finding strength in vulnerability and learning to adapt when life throws curveballs. When you embrace failure as part of the process, you build an unshakable foundation of grit. You prove to yourself that no matter how hard things get, you have the tools to rise again. Another powerful aspect of failure is the humility it teaches. Success can sometimes inflate egos, creating a false sense of invincibility. Failure brings you back down to earth, reminding you that growth requires effort, patience, and collaboration. It opens doors to new perspectives, new relationships, and new possibilities. By humbling yourself through failure, you create space for others to support you, and for you to support them in return. Here's another layer to consider. Failure often reveals what you truly care about. When something doesn't work out, you're forced to ask yourself, is this worth pursuing? If the answer is yes, then failure becomes fuel. It ignites a fire within you to keep going, to dig deeper, to fight harder. If the answer is no, then failure serves as redirection, guiding you towards something that aligns better with your purpose. Either way, it moves you closer to where you're meant to be. Finally, remember that failure is universal. No one escapes it, not even those who seem to have it all figured out. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't lies in how they respond. Do they let failure define them, or do they use it to redefine themselves? Do they give up at the first sign of trouble, or do they double down on their commitment? The choice is yours, and every time you choose to persevere, you rewrite your story. The beauty of failure is that it levels the playing field. It reminds us that we're all human, all flawed, all capable of transformation. When you lean into failure instead of running from it, you tap into a wellspring of strength you didn't know existed. You begin to see setbacks not as defeats, but as stepping stones. You start to trust that every fall brings you one step closer to standing tall. What if every challenge you face is actually an opportunity to prove your strength? Life has a way of testing us. It throws obstacles in our path, shakes up our plans, and forces us to dig deep when we least expect it. But here's the empowering truth. Challenges aren't meant to break you. They're meant to build you. They push you to discover reserves of resilience you didn't know you had. They strip away doubt and fear, leaving behind only the essence of who you are. A fighter, a creator, someone capable of overcoming anything that stands in their way. Think about it this way. A diamond is formed under immense pressure. Without that pressure, it would remain nothing more than carbon. The same principle applies to your life. Every difficulty you encounter adds layers of toughness, brilliance, and clarity to your character. Each time you rise above a challenge, you shine a little brighter. You become a little stronger. And over time, those small victories compound into something extraordinary. A version of yourself that no challenge can ever intimidate. Now, let's talk about perspective. Challenges often feel overwhelming because we view them as threats rather than opportunities. We focus on how hard they are instead of what they can teach us. What if you shifted your mindset? What if you saw every obstacle as a chance to grow, not just in skill, but in courage, patience, and wisdom? When you reframe challenges this way, they lose their power to paralyze you. Instead, they become stepping stones, guiding you toward the person you're meant to become. And here's something powerful to consider. Challenges reveal your true priorities. When life gets tough, you're forced to ask yourself, what really matters? What am I willing to fight for? These moments of clarity help you align your actions with your deepest values. They remind you why you started in the first place and reignite the passion that fuels your journey. Without challenges, you might never fully understand what drives you or how much you're capable of achieving. Another crucial aspect of building resilience is learning to embrace discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens when you push beyond them. Every challenge you face is an invitation to stretch yourself, to step into unfamiliar territory, and to trust that you'll adapt. At first, it feels uncomfortable, maybe even terrifying. But with each step, you realize you're stronger than you thought. You begin to crave the growth that comes from stepping outside your limits. Let's also acknowledge the role of gratitude in overcoming challenges. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. It means finding the lessons hidden within the struggle. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How will this make me better? Gratitude shifts your focus from what's going wrong to what's going right. Even if it's just the fact that you're still standing, this simple shift changes how you approach adversity, turning frustration into determination and fear into faith. Finally, remember that challenges are temporary, but the strength they build lasts forever. No matter how dark things seem, no matter how heavy the weight feels, this moment will pass. And when it does, you'll look back and see how far you've come. You'll realize that every challenge was worth it because it prepared you for something greater. It shaped you into someone who can handle whatever comes next. The beauty of challenges is that they remind you of your own power. They show you that no matter how hard life gets, you have what it takes to keep moving forward. By embracing them instead of fearing them, you unlock a level of confidence and resilience that nothing can shake. What if the greatest joy in life isn't found in reaching the destination, but in becoming better every single day? We often get caught up in chasing outcomes. We fixate on milestones, deadlines, and end goals, believing that happiness lies just beyond them. But here's the truth. True fulfillment doesn't come from ticking boxes or crossing finish lines. It comes from the journey itself, the process of growing, learning, and evolving into the best version of yourself. When you embrace this mindset, something incredible happens. You stop waiting for someday and start finding joy in the now. Think about it like climbing a mountain. The summit is important, yes, but the real magic happens along the trail. It's in the sunrise breaking over the horizon as you take your first steps. It's in the quiet moments when you pause to catch your breath and realize how far you've already come. It's in the camaraderie with fellow climbers, sharing stories and encouragement. These are the moments that make the climb worthwhile. Without them, reaching the top would feel hollow. Now let's talk about progress. Not the kind measured by numbers or accolades, but the kind felt in your heart. Every time you choose growth over stagnation, effort over ease, or courage over comfort, you create momentum. That momentum carries you forward, not towards some distant goal, but toward the person you're becoming. Each small improvement adds layers of confidence, purpose, and pride. You begin to see that the act of striving itself is what brings meaning to your life. And here's something profound to consider. Joy isn't reserved for big wins. It lives in the tiny victories, the ones most people overlook. Did you wake up today determined to try again? That's worth celebrating. Did you push through doubt and take one step closer to your dream? That's worth celebrating too. These moments may seem insignificant in isolation, but together they form the foundation of lasting happiness. They remind you that success isn't an event. It's a series of daily decisions to show up and give your best. Let's also address the role of curiosity in finding joy. Curiosity keeps you engaged in the process. It transforms challenges into puzzles to solve and setbacks into lessons to learn. When you approach life with a sense of wonder, asking questions like, what can I discover today? Or how can I grow from this experience? You unlock a deeper level of satisfaction. You realize that there's always more to explore, more to understand, and more to achieve. And that realization fills you with excitement, not exhaustion. Another powerful aspect of embracing daily improvement is the ripple effect it creates. When you commit to becoming 1% better each day, you inspire those around you to do the same. Your energy becomes contagious. Friends, family, coworkers, they notice the light in you and want to share in it. By focusing on your own growth, you inadvertently uplift others, creating a cycle of positivity and progress that extends far beyond yourself. Finally, remember that the joy of growth isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Some days you'll soar, other days you'll stumble. Both are part of the journey. What matters is that you keep moving forward, trusting that every effort contributes to something greater. Over time, those efforts compound, shaping not just your skills or achievements, but your spirit. You become someone who thrives on challenge, who finds beauty in struggle, and who radiates gratitude for the opportunity to grow. The beauty of this mindset is that it frees you from the pressure to arrive. There's no final destination because growth is infinite. Every day offers a new chance to stretch yourself, to learn something new, and to celebrate how far you've come. By embracing the joy of becoming better, you transform ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. What if the only thing standing between you and your dreams is a single step forward? It's easy to get overwhelmed by the size of your goals. The finish line feels impossibly far away, and the gap between where you are now and where you want to be seems insurmountable. But here's the truth. Transformation doesn't happen in leaps. It happens in steps, one decision at a time, one action at a time. And while it might feel small in the moment, each step moves you closer to the life you envision. Progress isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about choosing to start today, even if starting means taking the tiniest, most imperfect action imaginable. Think about it this way. Imagine building a bridge. You wouldn't try to construct the entire structure in one day. Instead, you'd lay one beam, then another. Each piece connects to the next until eventually the path ahead becomes clear. That's exactly how growth works. Every effort you make adds a new piece to the foundation you're constructing. Over time, those pieces form something solid, something unshakable, proof that consistent effort leads to extraordinary results. Now let's talk about momentum. Momentum is a powerful force. It starts small, almost imperceptible, but with every step you take, it grows stronger. The first step might feel uncertain, even daunting, but once you take it, something shifts inside you. Doubt begins to loosen its grip, replaced by determination. Fear starts to fade, replaced by focus. And before you know it, you're moving, not because you have everything figured out, but because you've decided to trust the process. That's the beauty of momentum. It carries you further than you ever thought possible, one step at a time. And here's something empowering to consider. Taking action changes the way you think. When you act, even in small ways, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you imagined. Action silences doubt. It replaces "what if I fail" with "what's next?" It reminds you that progress isn't reserved for the confident or the prepared. It's available to anyone willing to move. So don't wait until you feel ready. Start now, wherever you are, with whatever you have. Movement creates clarity, and clarity fuels motivation. Let's also address the role of commitment in turning dreams into reality. Commitment isn't flashy or exciting. It's steady and unwavering. It's showing up when inspiration falters, when energy wanes, when distractions pull at your attention. It's making a promise to yourself that no matter how hard things get, you won't give up. This level of dedication transforms not just your circumstances, but your identity. You become someone who follows through, who honors their word, who refuses to settle for less than they deserve. Another crucial aspect of taking action is embracing imperfection. Too often we hold ourselves back because we're waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. But perfection is an illusion, a mirage that keeps us stuck in hesitation. Real growth happens in the messy middle, where mistakes are made and lessons are learned. By giving yourself permission to stumble, you free yourself to soar. You realize that done is better than perfect, and that every misstep brings you closer to mastery. Finally, remember that action has a way of shrinking fear. Fear thrives on inaction. The longer you hesitate, the louder it becomes. But the moment you move, fear loses its power. Why? Because fear exists in the future. In all the what-ifs and unknown, action pulls you into the present, where reality is far less intimidating than your imagination would have you believe. With each step you take, fear fades, replaced by confidence born from experience. The beauty of taking action lies in its simplicity. You don't need grand gestures or elaborate plans to change your trajectory. All you need is a willingness to begin, to plant one seed, write one sentence, send one email, or take one breath. These small acts may seem insignificant in isolation, but together they create a wave of transformation that carries you toward your dreams. So, what are you waiting for? The tools you need are already within you. The opportunities are right in front of you. All that's left is to decide, to choose movement over stagnation, courage over comfort, and faith over fear. Take that first step today, then take another tomorrow, and another the day after that. What if the most powerful question you could ask yourself is, who do I want to become? This isn't about who you are today. It's not about your current circumstances, limitations, or fears. It's about envisioning the highest version of yourself, the person you're capable of becoming when you tap into your full potential. When you focus on this vision, something remarkable happens. Your actions align with your aspirations. You stop letting setbacks define you and start letting your dreams guide you. Every decision becomes an opportunity to move closer to that ideal version of yourself. Think about it like sculpting a masterpiece. The raw material is already there. You just need to chip away at what doesn't belong. Each choice you make shapes the outcome. Will you carve with intention, carefully refining your skills and character, or will you let distractions dull the edges, leaving the sculpture unfinished? The beauty of this process lies in its simplicity. Every effort counts. Every moment offers a chance to add depth, clarity, and purpose to the person you're creating. Now let's talk about identity. Too often we allow our past to dictate who we believe we are. We cling to labels. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'll never succeed. But here's the truth. Your past doesn't define you. Your present does. Who you choose to be right now determines who you'll become tomorrow. By shifting your focus from what happened to what's possible, you reclaim control over your narrative. You begin to see yourself not as a victim of circumstance, but as the architect of your destiny. And here's something profound to consider. Growth requires reinvention. The person you were yesterday may not be equipped to handle the challenges ahead. That's okay. Embrace the idea that transformation demands shedding old habits, beliefs, and patterns that no longer serve you. Let go of anything that weighs you down, fear, doubt, negativity, and replace it with qualities that elevate you. Courage, resilience, gratitude. These aren't traits you're born with. They're muscles you strengthen through practice. With each repetition, you build the strength needed to carry your dreams into reality. Let's also address the role of authenticity in becoming your best self. Authenticity means staying true to your values, passions, and purpose, even when it feels uncomfortable. It means resisting the urge to conform to someone else's expectations and instead forging your own path. Yes, it takes courage to stand out, to embrace vulnerability, to trust your instincts, but the reward is worth it. A life lived on your terms, filled with meaning and fulfillment. Authenticity attracts people who resonate with your energy, creating connections that uplift and inspire you along the way. Another powerful aspect of personal evolution is embracing discomfort as a sign of progress. Growth rarely feels easy. It pushes you beyond familiar boundaries, forcing you to confront fears and insecurities you'd rather ignore. But these moments of discomfort are where magic happens. They're where breakthroughs occur, where confidence is built, where resilience is forged. When you lean into discomfort instead of running from it, you unlock doors you didn't even know existed. Finally, remember that becoming your best self is a lifelong journey, not a destination. There will always be new heights to reach, new lessons to learn, new ways to grow. And that's the beauty of it. You'll never arrive because the process itself is the prize. Along the way, you'll discover strengths you didn't know you had, passions you didn't realize burned within you, and dreams you never thought possible. Each milestone becomes a stepping stone to something greater, keeping you hungry for more. The key to sustaining this journey is celebrating the person you're becoming, not just the person you hope to be. Take time to reflect on how far you've come. Acknowledge the battles you've fought, the fears you've faced, and the victories you've earned. These reminders fuel your momentum, reminding you why you started in the first place. They anchor you during tough times, helping you stay focused on the bigger picture. So, who do you want to become? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Start answering these questions, not with words, but with actions. Show up every day as the person you aspire to be. Trust that each step forward brings you closer to that vision. Believe that you have everything it takes to create a life that inspires both you and those around you. What if the greatest gift you could give yourself is the unwavering belief that you are capable of more than you ever imagined? Belief is a force unlike any other. It shapes your reality, fuels your actions, and determines how far you're willing to go. When you truly believe in your potential, something extraordinary happens. Obstacles shrink, possibilities expand, and the impossible begins to feel within reach. But here's the key. It's not about waiting for proof before you believe. It's about believing first, then letting your actions create the proof. Faith in yourself is the spark that ignites transformation. Think about it this way. Belief acts as a magnet. When you trust in your abilities, opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere. People show up to support you. Resources come into play. The universe seems to conspire in your favor, not because luck has suddenly shifted, but because your mindset has. Belief opens doors that fear keeps locked. It gives you the courage to take risks, to step into uncertainty, and to embrace challenges as chances to grow. Without belief, even the smallest hurdles can feel insurmountable. With it, mountains become movable. Now let's talk about self-trust. Trusting yourself isn't always easy. Life has a way of testing us, shaking our confidence, and making us question whether we're cut out for the journey ahead. But here's the truth. Every time you honor your commitments, no matter how small, you rebuild that trust. Every time you push through doubt or discomfort, you remind yourself that you're stronger than you think. Self-trust isn't built overnight. It's earned through consistent effort and integrity. And once it's established, there's no limit to what you can achieve. And here's something powerful to consider. Belief isn't just about confidence, it's about clarity. When you believe in your ability to succeed, you start seeing solutions where others see problems. You approach challenges with curiosity instead of fear, asking, how can I figure this out, instead of, why is this happening to me? This shift in perspective changes everything. It transforms setbacks into setups for success and turns uncertainty into opportunity. Belief allows you to navigate life's twists and turns with grace and determination. Let's also address the role of resilience in sustaining belief. Doubt will creep in. It's part of being human. There will be moments when you question whether you're on the right path, whether you have what it takes, whether the effort is worth it. In those moments, resilience becomes your anchor. It reminds you that setbacks don't define you, they refine you. It whispers, keep going, keep believing. Resilience ensures that your belief doesn't waver, even when progress feels slow or invisible. Another crucial aspect of belief is its ripple effect. When you believe in yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Your energy becomes contagious, lifting those around you and creating an environment where growth thrives. Friends, family, colleagues, they see your conviction and draw strength from it. By nurturing your own belief, you inadvertently empower others to unlock their potential. Belief isn't just personal, it's collective. It spreads light in dark places and hope in moments of despair. Finally, remember that belief requires action to sustain it. Faith without effort is like a car without fuel. It might look good, but it won't get you anywhere. Believing in yourself means showing up every day, even when motivation falters. It means taking imperfect action, trusting that movement creates momentum. Each step reinforces your belief, proving that you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. Over time, these actions compound, building a foundation of confidence that nothing can shake. The beauty of belief lies in its ability to transform not just your circumstances, but your entire outlook on life. It shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's possible, from I can't to I will, from what if I fail to what if I fly. Belief gives you permission to dream bigger, work harder, and love deeper. It reminds you that the only limits that exist are the ones you place on yourself, and that those limits are meant to be broken. So make the decision today to believe in yourself, not because you've achieved everything yet, but because you know you're capable of achieving anything. Trust that every challenge is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Trust that every effort brings you closer to the life you envision, and most importantly, trust that you are enough, not someday, but right now. What if the final piece of your journey is realizing that everything you've been searching for has been within you all along? It's a powerful moment when you stop looking outside yourself for answers and start trusting the wisdom you already hold. For so long, we seek validation from others, approval, recognition, reassurance, as if their opinions could fill the void inside us. But here's the truth. No external source can ever give you what you're truly seeking: fulfillment, purpose, peace. They come not from accolades or applause, but from aligning with the deepest parts of who you are. When you connect with your inner voice, you unlock a reservoir of strength, clarity, and authenticity that nothing else can match. Think about it this way. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. At first, you might focus on perceived flaws, the things you wish were different. But as you look closer, you begin to see beyond the surface. You notice the resilience in your eyes, the kindness in your smile, the fire in your soul. That reflection isn't just an image, it's a reminder of everything you've overcome, every lesson you've learned, every ounce of potential waiting to be unleashed. The answers you need aren't out there somewhere, they're staring back at you. All you have to do is listen. Now let's talk about intuition, the quiet voice inside that knows what's best for you. We often dismiss it, drowned out by noise, doubt, or fear, but intuition is your greatest ally. It's the compass guiding you toward decisions that align with your true self. When you learn to trust it, life becomes simpler. Choices feel less overwhelming because you know deep down what's right for you. Intuition doesn't shout, it whispers. And when you tune into those whispers, you find yourself moving in harmony with your purpose. And here's something profound to consider. The more you embrace your inner world, the less you rely on external validation. Think about how freeing that is. No longer do you measure your worth by likes, comments, or comparisons. Instead, you draw strength from knowing who you are and staying grounded in that truth. This shift changes how you interact with the world. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you radiate confidence and authenticity. People are drawn to your energy because it's real, unshakable, and uniquely yours. Let's also address the role of stillness in connecting with your inner self. In today's fast-paced world, silence feels foreign, almost uncomfortable, yet it's in those quiet moments that your voice speaks loudest. Meditation, journaling, walking alone in nature, these practices create space for introspection. They allow you to peel back the layers of distraction and get to the core of who you are. Stillness isn't laziness, it's power. It's where breakthroughs happen, where inspiration strikes, where healing begins. By embracing stillness, you honor the part of yourself that craves understanding and connection. Another crucial aspect of turning inward is recognizing your inherent value. Too often, we tie our worth to achievements, relationships, or societal expectations. But your value isn't conditional, it's intrinsic. You matter simply because you exist. Your presence makes the world brighter, richer, fuller. When you internalize this truth, you free yourself from the endless pursuit of proving your worth. You stop seeking permission to shine and start owning your brilliance without apology. Finally, remember that connecting with your inner self isn't a one-time event. It's a lifelong practice. Life will test you. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when fear tries to take over, when you question whether you're enough. On those days, return to the foundation you've built. Remind yourself of all you've accomplished, all you've endured, all you've grown into. Trust that the same strength that carried you through yesterday will carry you through today and tomorrow. The beauty of this realization is that it simplifies everything. You no longer waste energy chasing approval or comparing yourself to others. Instead, you focus on nurturing the relationship you have with yourself. You prioritize growth, gratitude, and grace. You celebrate progress, honor setbacks, and cherish the journey. Because ultimately, the only person you need to impress is the one in the mirror. So take a moment now to thank yourself for showing up, for persevering, for believing even when it felt impossible. Acknowledge the light within you and commit to letting it guide you forward. Trust that you have everything you need to create a life filled with meaning, joy, and fulfillment. What if the greatest victory you'll ever achieve is simply the act of becoming who you were always meant to be? This isn't about reaching a destination or checking off some imaginary finish line. It's about embracing the process, the messy, beautiful, unpredictable journey of growth. Every step you've taken, every challenge you've faced, every moment of doubt and triumph has led you here, to this exact point in time, where you're ready to rise higher than ever before. You are not just surviving, you're thriving. And that realization changes everything. Think about it like planting a forest. At first, all you see is barren land, empty, untouched, full of potential but lacking direction. But as you plant each seed, nurture each sapling, and weather each storm, something incredible begins to emerge. Trees grow tall, roots dig deep, and what was once desolate transforms into a thriving ecosystem teeming with life. Your journey mirrors this transformation. Every effort you make adds another layer of richness, depth, and purpose to your existence. The forest doesn't care how long it took to flourish. It only knows that it stands strong now. That's where you are today, stronger, wiser, more alive. Now, let's talk about legacy. Not in terms of fame or fortune, but in the impact you leave on the world around you. Legacy isn't built in grand gestures. It's woven into the small, everyday choices you make. How do you treat others? How do you show up when no one is watching? What energy do you bring to the spaces you occupy? These seemingly insignificant acts ripple outward, touching lives in ways you may never fully understand. When you choose kindness over indifference, courage over fear, action over hesitation, you create a legacy of light, a trail of inspiration for others to follow. And here's something profound to consider. The person you're becoming isn't just for you, it's for everyone whose path you cross. Your strength gives others permission to find theirs. Your vulnerability reminds them it's okay to be human. Your resilience shows them they too can overcome anything life throws their way. By stepping fully into your power, you become a beacon of hope for those still finding their footing. You remind them that greatness isn't reserved for the chosen few. It's available to anyone willing to embrace the call within themselves. Let's also address the role of gratitude in solidifying your progress. Gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's a practice, a mindset, a way of seeing the world through a lens of abundance rather than lack. When you pause to appreciate how far you've come, you shift your focus from what's missing to what's present. You notice the lessons hidden in every struggle, the beauty tucked inside every imperfection, the blessings wrapped in every challenge. This perspective fuels your momentum, reminding you why you started and inspiring you to keep going. Gratitude becomes your anchor, keeping you steady even when storms rage. Another crucial aspect of your evolution is recognizing that success isn't solitary. It's shared. No one achieves greatness alone. Along the way, you've been supported by countless hands, voices, and hearts. Mentors who guided you, friends who cheered you on, strangers whose stories inspired you. Take a moment to honor these connections, knowing that they've shaped you in ways both visible and unseen. Celebrate the community that surrounds you, and remember that true success is measured not by how much you accumulate, but by how deeply you connect. Finally, let's talk about freedom, the kind that comes from living authentically. Freedom isn't about escaping responsibility or rejecting structure. It's about aligning your life with your values, passions, and purpose. It's about saying yes to what sets your soul on fire and no to what dims your light. When you live authentically, you stop seeking approval and start giving yourself permission to shine. You realize that happiness isn't something you chase, it's something you create. And in doing so, you unlock a level of peace and fulfillment that nothing external can ever provide. The beauty of this final stage of your journey is that it's infinite. There will always be new heights to reach, new lessons to learn, new versions of yourself to discover. But none of that matters unless you carry forward the lessons you've already learned. Trust in your ability to adapt, to grow, to evolve. Trust in the strength you've built along the way. Trust that even in moments of uncertainty, you have everything you need to navigate whatever lies ahead. So as we wrap up this chapter together, take a deep breath and feel the weight of all you've accomplished. Feel the fire of all you're capable of achieving. You are limitless, not because someone told you so, but because you've proven it to yourself over and over again. This isn't the end, it's a beginning, a launching pad for even greater things. Keep believing, keep growing, keep shining, because the world needs exactly who you are and who you're becoming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And most importantly, thank you for daring to become unstoppable.